How is everybody doing today? How is everybody? So here's the issue that I wanted to discuss that has really been annoying me, to be honest. In the past, let's just say in the past 5 to 10 years, the so-called experts and they are the morons in the media kept telling us that all of us need to learn how to code or else we are not going to have jobs. That is what they were telling us. Um, Put aside the fact that that's just something that is impractical because there are so many other things in the world that are important and have to be done, which means that someone has to do those things. Some of them that are very high paying, even more high paying than coding and software engineering jobs. But they were pushing this line for the longest time. And then recently, in the last couple of years, now they are telling us that, wait, forget what we told you about coding. None of it matters. What matters now is artificial intelligence. Now they are telling us that everyone is going to lose their jobs because artificial intelligence has the ability to do everyone's job. Really, folks, really. I've come to the conclusion that these so-called experts and their morons in the media don't know what the hell they are talking about. And to be sure, yes, in the last 20 years, software engineering, um, computer science, computer engineering, IT, information system, and all of these other coding related professions have become very, very important. But they've not even come close to being the only thing that matters. That if you don't know how to do this thing, you are not useful in the 21st century. It's just not. It has never been true. Which also goes to the same issue of saying that it is also not true that artificial intelligence is coming to take all of our jobs. That is just simply not true, folks. It's not true. But to illustrate this point further, let's just put aside this issue of artificial intelligence, which everyone now and their grandma are pushing on us in the year of 2025, and it started to be pushed in great earnest in 2024. Let's just look in terms of the past couple of years when they were telling us that everyone in the world needs to know how to code. If you don't know how to code, you are not important in this world. That is what they were telling us, right? Let's look at how things look like in the US, because the US obviously is the most important um, labor market for us to consider that going forward. In the United States of America, for instance, in 2022, there was an estimated of 989,000 active physicians, that is, doctors, an estimated of just under a million doctors in the United States of America. In 2023, the United States of America had an estimated of 2.1 million farms. 2.1 million farms, which contributed an estimated 22 million jobs to the economy. 22 million jobs added to the American economy by 2 million farms. And I will even take it further that American farms have high levels of automation, by the way. Most of the farming and most of the harvesting in the United States and most of the irrigation is automated. Yet, it still contributes 22 million jobs to the economy. And then let's take it further. In the United States of America, by the year of 2025, there were roughly 1 million high school teachers. 1 million high school teachers in 2025 in the United States of America. Okay. In 2023, the United States of American economy had employed more than around 330,000 civil engineers. 330,000 civil engineers employed in the US economy. By around 2022, the US economy had employed 100,000 chemical engineers. And when we say 100,000 chemical engineers, we do not include the chemical engineers who are working in consultancy and who are working in financial services. We're just talking about chemical engineers who are actually doing chemical engineering work, process engineering work. Close to 100,000 in 2022. In 2023, the US economy had employed roughly 270,000 electrical and electronics engineers. Electrical and electronic engineers, 271,000. In the year of 2024, the US economy has in its employment 1.6 million accountants. 1.6 million accountants. These are all according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. 1.6 million accountants employed in the US economy. The finance sector of banking and all of that sector in the United States of America by 2023 employed 6.5 million finance professionals. 6.5 million finance professionals. That is, the folks who have finance qualifications, who are economists, financial analysts, those guys who have CFA licenses, financial advisors, bankers, asset managers, all of those guys, actuaries, sales people who sell financial products, 6.5 million. And this is obviously not surprising because the financial services always almost employs more people than other sectors, because the financial services has to support every other industry. Because even in South Africa, it's the same case, that the largest contributor to employment is financial services. So one way to think that if someone were to say these are the jobs of the future, they'll be talking about the finance jobs, because there is no other sector in any economy that employs more people than the finance sector. But no. They're not saying that. They're not telling any of that. Which is why I'm saying, don't believe the hype, folks. These people are lying to you. There is no sector that even employs half of what the finance sector employs in the United States of America. Not even half. This is to say 3.25 million. There is no sector that I found that employs 3.25 million people in the US. Which is to say that the finance sector has no equals. But none of you is pushing that every child in high school must go into finance, or must study finance, or must study economics, or must study actuarial science, or must study marketing. None of you are pushing that. Which is why I'm saying that don't believe the lies. This is all just BS, folks. Let's go further and say, how about materials engineers? Materials engineers in the US, which is a very recent specialty coming up, has employed roughly 60,000 engineers, 60,000 materials engineers in the United States of America. How about mechanical engineers? Mechanical engineers in the US are employed at around 300,000. 300,000 According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, there are 300,000 mechanical engineers, practicing mechanical engineers in the US. How about lawyers, folks? You know that everyone is a lawyer in the US. Everyone and their grandma is a lawyer in the US. There are over 1.3 million lawyers in the United States of America. 1.3 million lawyers in the United States of America. How about nurses, folks? Oh, I stand to be corrected about finance. Nurses, it's 4.7 million nurses. So that is more than half of what the finance sector is. So I'll say then, okay, it's the finance sector at the top, followed by professional nurses who are at 4.7 million. 4.7 million nurses in the United States. And everybody who knows anything about anything knows that nurses, especially in the US, are actually getting paid quite a bit. Many of them are earning six figures. And if you are a surgical nurse in particular, you could be earning upwards of $150,000 a year. So there it is, nurses, folks. 4.7 million nurses, which is to say there is 4 times more nurses in the US than there are doctors, and the number is growing. And then how about truck drivers? Everybody who knows anything about anything knows that truck drivers actually earn a lot of money in the US, six figures. They could be earning maybe around $75,000, maybe $80,000, but a lot of them are over $100,000 a year. Truck drivers have a very good life. 3.6 million truck drivers in the United States of America. 3.6 million truck drivers. And you are not going to be able to automate this, because the nature of the work that truck drivers are doing in driving into and outside of mines under very complex and difficult conditions, you can't do this with automated driving, because automated driving requires predictable environments where the vehicle that is being driven can reasonably be able to start and stop without any variations in conditions, which is why most autonomous vehicles can only operate in urban suburban settings. And this is not going to work with commercial trucks. 3.6 million truck drivers in the United States of America. Folks, 3.6 million. I don't understand. I don't know how I don't know if people understand the significance of these numbers. Start with the farming jobs, people who contribute in agriculture, 22 million jobs. Number one. Number two, finance. What is it? 6 point something million. Let's just say 6 million. Number three, nurses, 4.7 million. Number four, truck drivers, 3.6 million. And then if I put together, then doctors, obviously 1 million. And if I put together the various engineering specialties of mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, electrical engineering, and materials engineering, and I can't get numbers easily for nuclear engineers, because you need to add nuclear engineers, aeronautical engineers, metallurgists, all of those, you'll have that the US employs close to 2 million engineers, or let's just say just below 2 million engineers. And granted, there are roughly 3 million software developers in the United States of America, 2.9 million. But if you were to put all of this in a pie chart, they are not even in the top 4 contributors of employment. And if you put all of the high-paying jobs and you put them in a pie chart, software developers and coders would be probably less than 10%. But they are telling you that the only thing that matters is you need to know how to code. You must be a software developer. You must be a coder. Folks, if anything, don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. It is all BS, folks. That's all that it is. It is all BS. And this is not to say that these jobs are not good and great and well-paying jobs, of which they are. This is to say they are not the only thing. That's really what has always been my argument. They are not the only thing. And they are not here to take away all these other jobs. That's just not going to happen anytime soon. They're not going to replace nurses anytime soon. They're not going to replace doctors anytime soon. They're not going to replace engineers anytime soon. The other engineers that I mentioned, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, chemical engineers, civil engineers, aeronautical engineers, materials engineers, they're not going to replace them. And from what I'm seeing, they're not even going to replace farm workers. But they are telling you that the only thing that matters is coding. The only thing that matters is coding. And now they are telling you the only thing that matters is artificial intelligence. Folks, don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. We are still here. We are still going to be here doing our engineering jobs. We are still going to be here doing our medicine jobs. We're still going to be here being farmers and being mechanics and being truck drivers and supporting our families and making a lot of money. We are here, nigga. We are here. Whether your AI is here or not, we are still going to make money outside of AI or coding related activities, whether you like it or not. Cheers.